Right to Keep and Bear Arms by the Right to Keep and Bear Arms group on DailyKos. Why should Democrats support the right to keep and bear arms? Democrats have traditionally been the protectors of the people's rights, and the rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment should be no different. On the other hand, while actually advocating for more liberty in one case, the Second Amendment, Republicans in recent history have worked to limit the American public in many respects. Considering the audience I'm speaking to, do I really have to list all of the ways the Republicans have screwed us? Gun owners represent roughly a quarter of adults in the United States, according to the Brady campaign. Rightly or wrongly, the Democratic Party is seen as the party of gun control and the party that takes away the American voters' guns. According to a survey run in 2004 by Mark Penn, a pollster to President Clinton, 21% of voters swing toward the Democrat when a Democrat takes a position that emphasizes gun rights and firearm safety. $90,682,968 people voted in the 2010 elections. 21% of a rounded 90.5 million people is roughly 19 million people. Look at the chart below. How do you think the 2010 elections would have gone if that gun swing vote had voted for Democrats instead of the GOP? $105,405,100 people voted in the 2000 presidential election. Even if the 21% figure from before is an exaggerated figure, it's important to remember that it often takes much less than that to turn the tides in a close election. Even if the gun swing vote was only 5% instead of 21%, it changes the Bush versus Gore election significantly. The states Gore would have won if he had taken a pro-right to keep and bear arms stance include Florida, New Hampshire, Missouri, Ohio, Nevada, and Tennessee. We know how Bush II worked out. Think about how those 8 years would be different with a President Gore. Democrats running for office need to take a position that reinforces the right to keep and bear arms while promoting firearm safety. Strategically, this is needed to combat the prevailing view that the right to keep and bear arms is a strictly Republican view, a view that scares many gun owners who would otherwise vote Democratic. Silence is not an answer. Stances the Democrat running for office could speak for favorably include shall issue concealed carry laws for the 10 states remaining that don't already have them, nationwide reciprocity for concealed carry permits, and the continuation of the federal laws regarding firearm transfer. We'll discuss the specifics of each of these shortly. Shall issue concealed carry laws require the state to issue a carry permit to anyone who fits the criteria, with the state having no say in the matter. Basic criteria can include a certain age, no criminal record, a background check, and fingerprints. The shall issue carry system, or better, is currently the law in 40 states, including Minnesota. May issue states, there are 8 of them, require that the applicant petition the local law enforcement for permission. This sets up a patchy system where some jurisdictions hand out permits very liberally, and others never hand out any permits regardless of the applicant's suitability. Other may issue systems only hand out permits to those who are well connected. Shall issue concealed carry laws move the permitting process into the 21st century and make it much more equitable. There are currently only 2 states that don't allow any form of civilian concealed carry, Wisconsin and Illinois. The rivers of blood suggested by some have not occurred. The Violence Policy Center says that since May 2007, 309 people have been killed by civilian-carried, legally concealed handguns. This is nationwide. When compared to just Michigan, which has issued 266,968 permits since it became a shall-issue state, the numbers are underwhelming. Different government surveys give varying estimates for defensive gun use that range from 104,000 to 2.3 million. As a final thought on shall issue concealed carry laws, think of Florida. According to Florida statistics, concealed carry permit holders are less likely to commit crime than law enforcement officers, percentage-wise. National reciprocity for concealed carry permits would work along the same lines as a driver's license or marriage license once we achieve marriage equality. Just like your driver's license is good in 50 states and DC, your concealed carry permit would be legal in all 50 states and Washington. Gun sales through licensed dealers are highly regulated. Currently, any licensed dealer is an FFL, which means they are a federally licensed firearm dealer. Every time they sell a firearm, it is required that they run an FBI background check called the NICS, or National Instant Criminal Background Check System. This background check is required at gun shows, the dealer's shop, the McDonald's parking lot, or any other place. Private sellers are not regulated by the federal government when it comes to typical shotguns, rifles, or pistols. Recently, some have advocated for a background check on any and all transfers, including private sales. In addition, there is no evidence that regulating these private sales further will have any benefits. California can be used as an example of a state putting further restrictions on private sales. California requires all sales to be made through a federally licensed dealer with subsequent NICS background check. This hasn't impacted the crime rate. You might not agree with me on a firearm's utility, the American citizen's individual right to keep and bear one, or the fact that there should even be firearms in civilian hands. If we put that aside and agree that more Democrats is a good thing, then I would suggest that Democratic candidates for office need to be vocal about their support for the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms. A pro-right to keep and bear arms Democrat will put to rest the statement that Democrats are anti-gun and pro-gun control. There are many people out there that vote against their own interests for the sake of this one issue. A silent Democrat, or one who says they are a sportsman and loves to hunt, do us no favors. The right to keep and bear arms isn't about hunting, and any silent Democrat plays into the right-wing frame of Democrats are gun grabbers. Republicans in power cause more damage than firearms do. Do we really want more Republicans in power? Listed below are the sources for the different statistics and other data I've used throughout this presentation. Feel free to pause the video so you can copy the information down for research purposes, or fact-checking. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention. I look forward to seeing what a liberal and democratically controlled Congress and presidency can accomplish.